A formal grant application is very similar to Donors Choose, but requires a little more detail. Each grant application will differ by funding source, but there are a few key requirements that are almost always needed. These include: state your need, show a plan that is ready to go, have a clear budget and justification, have a clear impact factor, have a clear plan for evaluation, have a clear plan for telling others about the grant and your sponsor. State your need. For a formal grant, you may have an opportunity to establish your needs in different ways. It is always a good idea to talk about your students and local needs. Refer to some of the class resources to research different local needs in your own community. You may also be able to talk about state needs. Has the governor made a statement about the need to improve STEM education in this state? Is there state reform going on in education that you worry your students may not be prepared for? Is there an industry that is prevalent in your state that needs trained employees? Remember that grantors are often not educators. They may be more convinced by state needs that they can relate to from a business perspective. You can also look at national needs. For example, national standards such as the ISTE standards for students for technology competencies. National policy statements such as the National Educational Technology Plan may outline national programs and goals that your grant could help you or your students meet. Finally, you could also define your needs based on educational theory or educational practice. This can be a very convincing argument. For example, you could talk about effective reading or math strategies or theories of motivation or learning. Be careful, though, when making an educational argument to avoid educational lingo. Check it by asking someone in your life who is not working in education to read it. Remember that many grants are offered and scored by someone in business or another field, and they need to completely understand the need you are addressing. Show a plan that is ready to go. For a successful grant, one of the most important things is to have a clear plan of what you want to do and that it is ready to go. Some teachers will go as far as to fill out the purchase orders, so if the grant is funded over the summer, they can start ordering supplies right away. Have all of your permissions and letters of support in order. Make sure that the funders know that the principal and school district is in support of your application and that they will help you order materials and administer your grant plan. Make sure to include a realistic timeline so that funders can see how your project will progress and they feel that you will be able to complete the project in the allotted time. For example, if you won't hear that you got a grant until September, saying that your students will use the technology to make videos in September is unrealistic, but also suggesting that you won't start using your items until January is a deterrent to funders. Think of it this way. If 2 grants are being compared and only one will be funded, the one that has a clear plan and timeline will win every single time. Have a clear budget and rationale. Funders are looking for you to be ready to go. This includes a real budget. Outline the items that you will need for the grant to be successful. Include a rationale for the items you request. For example, if you're requesting technology, are you requesting 1 item per student or 1 per pair? Why? You can include a statement about individualized learning or maybe the benefits of collaborative work. Include information about ways you have tried to address needs in the past. For example, if you're requesting clickers and previously used classroom whiteboards, talk about what you learned and why you need a more technological solution to your problem. Show that you are thorough by including items like shipping and handling, and supplies like ink cartridges. But be really careful here. Don't order a printer and then 10 years worth of ink. But make sure to explain why you are ordering what you are ordering. If your school allows for matching funds or is willing to write letters of support, this is a great opportunity. Have your school write a letter of support that agrees to buy extra supplies to continue using the resources once the grant period is over. Have a clear impact factor. Make sure to clearly communicate what kind of impact a grant will make. How many students will use the resources? How many students will benefit? How often will you use the resources in your classroom? Funders don't want to envision their resources growing dusty on a shelf. Make a clear case for regular use or valuable impact on students with significant need. Have a clear plan for evaluation. Funders often want to see that their money is making a difference. Think about this when you write your proposal. Evaluation can be simple or complex. You can simply keep a log of how often technology or resources are used in your classroom. You can ask permission to share examples of projects that students created with the resources. If your request is focused on a content area or promises to improve student achievement, you could do something like a simple pre- and post test to show that students' knowledge increased. By including a plan for evaluation in your proposal, you are showing a funder that you're ready to bring the project full circle and understand their need for results. Have a clear plan for telling others about the grant and its sponsor. Don't forget that those that sponsor grants want benefit too. Sure, that warm, fuzzy feeling when you give to someone else is great, but a local organization wants you to tell other people about it. Will you share it on social media? Will you share it in a newsletter? Will you acknowledge the funder in anything that you make from the project? Will you tell parents and community members about their generosity? These are important things to plan for and to include in your grant application. How will you share how you benefited from and learned from your successful grant? Saying thank you is also a lost art. How will you show your funder that you appreciate their support? Above all else, it is imperative to follow the directions included with the request for proposals. But by planning for these common requirements as you develop your grant idea, you are more likely to present a well thought out and developed request. Now that you are thinking about these areas, take some time to interact with the course materials to practice these areas of grant development.